Well, you might say I'm glad this afternoon, after recording something about my response to being spit at. After saying that a little earlier, a couple hours or minutes ago, I don't take kindly to people who do that. A lot of people do. And it's a cold business decision when people just choose to do that. That is what it was with Facebook. And the alibis are on a list at arm's length long. Don't want to hear any of it, but I do not call, as some have. I can recall this before, for reforming the company so that it isn't Zucky's own game. Same with Amazon and that game. Yeah, I was hurt very badly by Carter and his thugs, and so there have been many who have hit hard. Albertville, for example, for SSA. Many. So, given that track record in all different places, it's another letdown to find Zuck would, look at his cards and say, well, I can discard this and get away with it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's done it. I can do it too. I can use the same excuses and so on. That's a business decision. A business decision made, like so many, on Christmas Day, or executed on Christmas Day. So then it becomes a question of, what's wrong with the American economy? Well, if what's wrong is unknown, I scarcely know what peer group would fail that test the way I think some people have. And I have a list of people for doing this, that, or the other, and now Zucky has moved from neutral to negative, only in the sense that he's made a business decision. Some will have him seem hapless, that I think one phrase was that he has to tiptoe around his own bureaucracy, even though reputedly he just fired 10,000. I guess he was hoping in that number he might have gotten rid of some problems. But does he know what problems are there and can't fire more than a dozen at a time because of one complication or another? Well, fundamentally, that's not the issue. It wouldn't be the issue for Mad Dog, for example. Hey, but we're talking about civilians. It wasn't civilians who saved the day for any number of people through the years. However, at the same time, military has marched people off to die more often than civilians have. Not by much, but still more often than civilians have. Of course, some claim there's, civilian control of one thing or another. Others don't. I don't know what Zuckerberg's opinion is. I wouldn't share anything I thought privileged with someone who has now demonstrated that with his stock down, what was it, at one point a little earlier? I wonder if it was a lie or fake news. Was it true that his stock went down 70% in one great slide, and that now it's not down that far, but it's still more or less lacks the the kind of promise that it won't help. I mean promise in terms of potential. I know Zucky has announced all kinds of flaky plans, but I was not going to say so. But for what he decided to do to me. I'm saying he has some flaky plans. I'm not saying that his plans were subversive or dangerous to the public. Haven't said that about his plans. Nor am I calling for a reformation of the company so that people can somehow get rid of the owner of the company, namely Zucky. I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't cross my mind, and that's why somebody got in touch to talk about that. My answer is no. The same answer I give to the Murdochs. You know, wouldn't want to mess with any number of situations like that, particularly when it boils down to, you know, secession or and one thing or another. So, of course, Zucky's not quite in that position yet, so that's not the question. But just in principle, I do believe that, you know, people who have even if it's a windfall kind of success, I don't think that just because it's a windfall, well, that would be like say, well, let's have state lotteries and we'll give away, you know, $60 million or $100 million in winnings with the left hand, and then turn around with the right hand. So now we're going to tax you the regular rate plus a punitive windfall rate. You know. So you can, you know, you can win $100 million, and then you'll pay regular taxes on that, and then after that you will have met the terms of some new law that says if you have windfall winnings, like what, a court judgment, a lottery thing, or you invent something terrific, so that we'll just confiscate that too. Or what? We'll either confiscate it or we'll make a deal with you. You leave management, you leave the company, and then you can have all the money is involved, if not tax-free, then without, you know, a truly unfair special tax. Well, I'm in favor of none of that. You know. I'm also in favor of things that don't make it impossible or nearly impossible for people to start something nowadays. You know, now then there's something really obnoxious, I think, about a scam like artificial intelligence. I agree with the New York Times and some others that is a scam. And if they can't hire the right lawyers, it's because the scam artists have gotten to them first, basically. If the arguments aren't offered correctly, then the correct arguments have simply been bought and put in a safe deposit box so that those proprietary considerations are moot, indefinitely anyway. How many times has that happened? I can't say. Who's going to say? But yeah. And besides, the real test is when people, you know, when people get toe-to-toe on the matter of national security. Some will say, well, now we've got to have AI because it figures into national defense. There are others who will say we better not use AI in national defense because it's a scam, and we would be shooting ourselves in the foot, so to speak, if we depended on it, because it is a scam. Now, if people want to redefine what AI stands for, that's possible. It could be, that the current lawsuits for millions and millions of dollars call for some really tough negotiations that basically redefine what AI is and what AI can or cannot do. Right now, AI can do things that are scandalous and that figure into a scam. 8 months from now, 10 months from now, AI might be rather totally reformed, no less sensationalized, but reformed in the same way that when people are talking about what is or is not a telephone company, what is or is not distributed computer power. Real engineers have had a field day many times over. Not a bunch of salesmen. Now then, on the matter of Facebook, I don't think that necessarily can be attributed to many people early on in terms of what they did in a dormitory. Now then, nowadays, does it take a great deal of talent to keep an unstable platform going? Yeah. I can say I'm disappointed. I used to defend Facebook. Now I can't. I can tell you that I think Zuckerberg has put his fingerprints all over some flaky things. I would not have said that until what he has said, that I'm subversive and that I post dangerous things on his little website. I might add many others also, so I just dropped that one off the list. Except that I have no reason to stomp away. I can be honest and say, well, we do have a disagreement. And beyond wishing happy birthday to people or what, I don't know what. It may be that he finds me so bad that that he might throw a tantrum like Philip did in my room here. I'm told string theory is dead. I've already written that I don't think that quite is quite true. In fact, the last time somebody said string theory is dead, about several years ago, I wrote about it. I said, no, string theory is not dead, and the fact that people have messed it up doesn't make it dead, But now somebody's declared string theory is dead again. It has to do with what someone I was recently introduced to, who's already had a long career going back to when he was 7 or 8 years old. But now he's a full professor, tenured and all that, and out there in UCLA, a delightful young man, and he's dead right about so much. How is it that I don't know about these people? It's like other people brought to my attention, and then, but that's something else. But Zucky's not one of them. I've never thought that he would be doing what Mr. Tao does, or Dr. Tao, or Dr. Bennett for that matter, and some other folks. But well, it's just like when you defend somebody against governmental misconduct, and then he turns around launches on what seems to be a new campaign. And other people all along have told me that he's that way. And I guess I just was wrong. I was wrong about Mr. Zuck. Yeah, it's a disappointment. I can tell you, though, there's some others who don't disappoint me. That doesn't mean they're ahead of anything that Zuck looks up to. Right now, I think Zucky's looking at his net worth and doesn't want to lose any more. Like to gain back what he had. Maybe make even more, but he's already announced plans that really tip the balance, you know, and no, I'm offended. You know, I'm offended. It's not the end of the world. I mean, if we met in an elevator, I'd be polite, you know, but that doesn't mean I would choose to get on an elevator with him. If I were waiting with a row or two of elevators and saw him getting on the elevator, I certainly would wait for some other elevator, you know, just as a matter of courtesy. And I hope he would do the same, I think. But we'll never be even in the same hemisphere, as far as I'm concerned. We are now, but several time zones away most of the time. And if he goes over to New York every now and then, it's probably to go to Zurich or something where he belongs with his attitude. So this is not quite the diatribe people might think. You know, it's not the same as roasting Alex about his chocolate milk. Not the same as that at all. No, I am offended, but I've been offended so often that that's why he did it. It's good business sometimes. But I think in his case, if he thinks he can save his net worth by offending me, he'll find that there are those who are glad when I'm offended, but I don't think anybody's actually gained what some have promised as a result. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it seems as though they haven't, other than they get pumped up enough to do it over and over, like Philip, for example. I'm due for some more crap from him anytime. I've overheard, you know, what's been said, so I know he'll be a repeat offender. But no, then am I an anarchist? Well, you know, there are not many people I wanted to discuss that with. You know, there are some I think might have something to say, and I would have something to say, but it seems like people are otherwise occupied. I've given you a hint, you know. I'm all for example, the effort made by the auto workers, particularly because I know some people are saying that they are thinking in terms of maybe getting them in on the NFL covenant. Now, right now the covenant exists, but it doesn't mean anything because nobody's achieved anything. Just kumbaya, you know. Well, for some reason, it's not good business anymore for Zuck to try that kumbaya. And I know what some people do. They say, well, no, you know, I'll make it up to you later. That was Jeff Bezos' thing. He and Carter and some other thugs. But no, you won't. One thing, the agenda doesn't allow for what you have. The things I like, but what do they have? They don't have what I care for. Well, anyway, it's what? It is 1:43 p.m. on New Year's Eve, 2023. December 31st, not 32nd. December 31st.